Hey, what's going on, Victorious Army? My victorious family. Hope y'all are out there having some very victorious things happening in your lives. Hope you're having a great day. So, let's get into this vlog. Today's vlog, I wanted to talk about mental power, right? Have you ever heard the phrase, "A mind is the terrible thing to waste," right? I've heard that a lot my whole life, but only recently did I really start to think about what that meant. Right, a mind is a terrible thing to waste because, as it turns out, right, all is really mental, right? All is mind, and the mind is all, right? Everything in your mind can become real, and it can either hurt you or help you, right? What do I mean by that, right? So, if something happens, right, a bad situation occurs, right, you can begin to think like, oh, this is so terrible, this is awful, this is bad, into that whole idea, right? Then you're gonna be left feeling bad and thinking about things so terribly, right? And instead of thinking, okay, that happened, right? What can I do to fix this? Or what can I do to make this into something better, right? Then at that point, right, instead of staying in the negative area of like, this is so terrible, this is so bad, right? Now you've instead opened your mind up to different possibilities, right? So not only are you open to better solving of that situation, but right now you've stopped the situation lingering over you, right? Because if you continue to look at the negative side of things, right, the situation is going to be there longer. It's going to make you feel worse, right? Thinking negatively, and overall, it's going to be harder to solve. It's going to be harder to make better. But if you think about it positively, right, or think about it as, how can I fix this, right? Immediately you've put yourself in a different mental position to be able to solve the problem, and then it's not weighing your mind down anymore, right? It's not weighing you down mentally so much, but more so, now you're able to solve it, right? Now you're able to find a different way around it. So now that problem starts to become minimized, right? Because the more negative you think over something, the larger it seems to become, and the harder it is to solve it, right? But the more you start thinking towards the solution, right, the easier it technically becomes to solve it, the less lingering that happens over your mind because of it, right? And, given the times now, right, it's really a great idea to be able to think towards a more solutionary idea for all the different problems that you may or may not have, right? Or you may have, we'll see it like that. Different situations, are going to occur, right? Not everything always so positive, but if you're able to really think about it, right? Really think about it in a better light, right? Using your mind to help you rather than using it to harm you, in a sense, right? To stop you from solving these problems, right? Because as it turns out, in the grander scheme of things, right, either you're going to use your mind or someone else is going to use your mind, right? And since my mind is attached to me, right, I would rather use my mind and not be used by someone else. Which also, comes to learning, right? Learning is a very, very powerful tool that really helps a lot of things in a lot of situations. When you learn more, you know more, and then now you have more ability to solve problems. You have more possibility of creating better things for yourself, right? And then also along with the mind, right? I guess a good example I gave earlier in my vlogs was that, come on now, where is it at? What example was that? Shoot, it evades me at the moment. I just had it. Maybe it'll come back to me. But, right, your mind can be a hell or a heaven. Meaning, right, if you let a whole bunch of negativity in your mind and you keep thinking so negatively and terribly, right, everything just becomes harder on you, right, harder on you mentally. Everything seems more so a bother or a pain, rather than things being lighter or better or more of a possibility for you to move forward with, right? Because in your mind, right, you can visualize. You can visualize either great things or bad things, right? And of course, we would only want to visualize great things, because why would you really want to visualize any bad things, given as how that's the only thing that's really going to harm you, right? And the more you visualize, the more you begin to really start to tap into your mind's power of what it is you desire, right? Instead of visualizing someone else's dreams, right? Or someone else's desires, right? Good example, actually. So, a while ago, I ended up trying to go into business with a couple of people who I thought, we were all on the same page and had all of our best interests at mind, right? Especially me, right? Because I was coming in, I knew it was a business, I knew it was work that had to be done, and I was willing to do the work, right? But the people I was with were just, talking things up like, oh, we do this, we're gonna really make it up, we're gonna really make this money, we're gonna do this so we can all eat too, and then, because I guess I was already just committed in my mind, right? I was already committed to this happening, right? So for me, I started seeing the things I wanted, believing that this is gonna work out, believing that, we gonna really be making this money and we all gonna be able to eat too, right? But turns out, right, since I was the only one committed in the business that was not my own, right, and I came in as a worker, and truthfully, they didn't have a plan together, but I trusted that they did, right? So basically, I was the one who had my mind used to have someone else's dream brought into reality, right, versus my own, right? And I guess you could look at it as, that was me being too trustworthy of the people I was with. That was me not being knowledgeable enough on the business, to be able to sit there and scale it, right? But what can I say? I mean, I really just believe that that's what it was, right? So all of that to say that I ended up visualizing someone else's dream in reality instead of my own, right? I was sold some type of fake dream that I wanted to be a part of because I thought it was real, but it truly wasn't. And it turns out, right, that my mind was being used against me and for someone else or some others to help them spur along what they want. So, right, like I was saying, right, it's best for you to utilize your own mind, right? Be able to really have that knowledge of things, right? And I guess give you examples, since I was just talking about this business, right, that I was trying to go into. Knowledge of things such as knowing whether or not the people that you're working with are going to be reliable, right? Knowing that, you're not the only one that's excited for it, really seeing how it's presented to you as well, right? And then knowing how the business should be run, whether or not you come in as a worker, or whether or not you're like a top or a partner in the business, right? And like I said, I came under as a worker, right? Once again, right? My mind was that I was going to work. I was going to be there to do it, and I thought that they were just going to deliver and carry through with the amount of work that I was doing. But like I said, right, my mind ended up getting used because I was, I guess, too openly trusting, right? I was too naive to the fact of, I guess, their ulterior motives, right? I know that sounds a bit vague in general, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say it like this, right? I had some friends whom I trusted, right? That I thought we were all in this together, right? And once again, right, I guess I didn't really pay attention to much of how everything else was being laid out, right? I was more so trusting for the fact that we were friends, right? The fact that we had a certain rapport before the business. So I thought, this could only go right? Because if we're all in this together and we're all really putting forth the effort, right, then it couldn't go wrong. It just couldn't. At least that's what I thought. Because personally, from my perspective on the whole thing, I knew that we were coming in to a business, like I said before. I knew that hard work had to be done. And that's what I intended on doing, right? Because personally for me, I wasn't going to let my friends down, right? Because I felt that this was a great opportunity, and also, I knew this was a great opportunity, and I was grateful that, a friend brought this to my attention to be able to go ahead and do this, right? So in my mind, I wasn't going to let nobody down. I was going to put my all into it each and every day, which I did, right? And I expected to be paid what I was owed, right? But then I guess that was the other part that I had missed, right? Being paid what it was I was owed, right? I didn't necessarily know what I was owed, right? Well, how do you not know that if, we're going into a business? Well, that's because in this business, right, what was the business? It was detailing. We were detailing cars, right? And it was just kind of put together between, us three different people. And eventually 4 and 5 came in, and, things like that started to progress. But at the initial front of everything, right, it wasn't necessarily a legit kind of business happening, but more so we agreed upon it verbally, right? And once again, I didn't know that, right? When you go into business or you do something like that, you should have things written down on paper, right? You should have things together and written down and pretty much within a contract. So now, not only is it verbally agreed upon, but it's in writing, right? So now, right, at that point, if I had it in writing and I had known what it was to go about, didn't know initially, right, then I could have called them on their shit as far as, look, we had a contract, we have things in writing stating this is how things were going to go. But, when you don't really know nothing and just kind of walk on trust and, really believe more so, I guess, in the friend aspect, right, that's what ends up happening, right? I didn't know, right? Just once again, I was the one who ended up getting used while everybody else's pockets were getting filled, right? But mine weren't. Because truthfully, I just kept my head down and work, right? I was about that work. That's what I was doing. But, all this to really say, I guess it's kind of turned into businessy type stuff, but it's okay. It's okay for now. But all this to really know, make sure you know what it is you're walking into, right? Make sure you have a great grasp on what it is you're doing, what it is you're supposed to get paid, what it is that you're supposed to have to you. Like, what do you expect from the situation, right? Have it in writing, have it on paper. But also, more importantly than all of that, technically, within the business and the physical aspect, right? Your mind, right? Make sure your mind is not being used for someone else's benefit, right? Make sure you're in charge of you, no matter what it is, right? Because your mind is very, very powerful. And your mind should be utilized by you, since it's your mind and no one else. I guess also I want to talk on, people who are alone a lot, right? People who have a tendency to be more sad, I guess, or on the sadder side, or the more negative side of their mind. This is when mental power is a very, very important aspect as well, right? Because I realized for me, I've been alone a lot, and I haven't exactly had the best time as far as me just being around me, right? I say that to say this because when you're alone, right, there's no one there to really cheer you up. If you get sad, there's no one there to talk you into a better mood, right? That's what it was. That's what I was mentioning in my earlier vlogs. It came back, right? No one is there to help you adjust your mood, right? You have to keep your mind focused. You have to adjust your own mind, right? That means, right, if you start feeling sad, start thinking about negative things, and start progressively going down, right, you have to begin to pick yourself up from that, right? You have to be able to move your mind to a more positive side of things, right? So I guess a good example, right? I guess say a certain situation happened, and then after that situation I was just alone a lot, right? And I started thinking sadly about different things that happened, and I started losing focus on what I was doing. I start to feel sad, I start to lose focus, and I start to lose the drive to do what it is I was doing, right? And then now I'm in sad land, right? And in sad land, what happens in sad land? You get more sad. Aww. Right? But at this point, right, it is up to me, as far as this example, right? It is up to me to begin to work myself out of sadness. Start thinking of happier thoughts, right? Start thinking on more positive sides of things. Start looking to think on better aspects, right? Start to think about things that go good rather than bad, right? Having better thoughts, start picking myself up out of sad land into positive land. I know this sounds silly, but it's very necessary. Let me see if I can explain this a little bit better. So, right, instead of thinking about, the sad things that happened, instead of thinking about how terrible things were, right, think about things that went well, right? Think about things that went good for your life, right? Start thinking about how much better things can be, right? Because once you do that, you're already putting your mind in a better thought process or thought area to start to link yourself into happier thoughts and better thinking and more positive vibration, right? Because once again, like I said earlier, right, no one's gonna really help you to be more happy at that point, right? It's up to you to be happy. It's up to you to figure out how to bring yourself into some happiness. It's up to you to keep that balance of your mind, right? And you deserve that, by far. You deserve to be happier, not constantly focused on negative or sad things. You deserve to be in a better mental position, mental phase, right? Another great thing to do to bring yourself into more of a positive thought process, right, is to listen to higher frequency music, be it like songs about happiness, songs about love, upbeat, very blissful types of songs, right? If you don't necessarily feel like a song, right, listen to higher vibrational music as far as like binaural beats, 432 hertz vibrational songs, things made to put your mind into a better frequency, into a better positive area, positive energy, right? That's truly the best way to do it, and best way to really safeguard yourself against going into so much negativity or negative land and all of the sadness, really, is you have to be able to mentally catch yourself, right? Catch yourself in these thoughts, right? Like if you start to think sad or about a certain thing that happened, of like, oh, this, right? Like, wait, right? Maybe that was bad, but it's okay because things are going to get better, right? Things are going to become greater. Things are going to become more wonderful, right? And at that point, when you start thinking like that, you already start to feel better energetically. So, just a couple little tips, right? Even some business tips thrown in there too. Just wanted to talk about mental energy, or mental power, excuse me, which is mental energy, because all is energy anyway. Really work on it for yourself. Really believe that you deserve to feel better. Really believe that you can feel better and things can get greater, right? Because maybe things may be bad now or terrible at the moment, right? But you don't deserve to let yourself just linger in a whole bunch of sadness and negativity. Believe you deserve it and allow yourself to feel and be better. That's about it for this vlog. I hope you find a couple good little nuggets in here. Hope you have a greater day. And as always, lead yourself to your greatest victory. And peace.